Liverpool 0, Chelsea 0, and quite frankly, you'd normally go to Anfield and be happy with a 0-0 draw if you came away from there with a 0-0 draw like we have done here today. But even from the get-go, it's disappointing. It's actually disappointing and sometimes frustrating with players in particular. I might even revise my ratings like I do quite frequently. But some players today, some players brilliant, some players just, what are you doing? What are you doing? Obviously a strange lineup from the get-go, but I think it came together quite well at segments within the game. We'll just get straight into it, shall we? As always, we'll start with Kepa Arrizabalaga, and again, just when he's on form, he's on form. An 8 from me, honestly, made some really good saves, some comfortable, some routine, some absolutely brilliant. And I just feel like at the moment is one of our best players, especially when he is having a good game. When he has a good game, one of if not our best players. Yeah, that you can't really fault him. But when he does concede, more often than not, it's usually by his own fault. But on this occasion, again, at Anfield, plenty of goal-scoring talent, although they were a little bit subdued with the lineup, much like we were as well. But still, just a good performance from him overall. This one, I feel like, is definitely up for debate. Especially with Chalobah. Obviously, he's gone off injured, so he didn't play the full 90 minutes. I have gone for a 6 from him. I could be persuaded with 6.5, but I do feel like he was probably the underperforming out of the back three, and it's kind of harsh because Thiago Silva and Badiashile have both been so good in this game especially. I've given Badiashile a 7.5 purely because of how he's just hit the ground running. Hopefully it's not a Koulibaly effect in the same sense of like he did a similar thing and now look at him, he's already out of the squad. But I'm so impressed with what I'm seeing so far. I think he's been really, really good, really solid. You know, he's going to find his feet even more as the games go on, hopefully. 2 weeks now between the next between this game and the game against Fulham on the 3rd of February. Time for some chemistry, time for some players to come back from injury. We'll have, hopefully, Reece James back by then. MUDRYK fully fit, which is going to be something really exciting, I'll tell you that. Thiago Silva I've given as an 8. He had a fantastic game today. Even just alone, that header that he did where Kepa was coming out, I think it was in the first half, second half? First half. And Kepa's come, he was going to punch it, more or less. And Thiago Silva with just a little flick, just enough to take it out for a corner ball. Could have gone in the back of the net, but it didn't because it's Thiago Silva. And it's a fantastic bit of play from him. So an 8 for him, an 8 for Kepa, maybe a 6.5 for Chalobah, but I feel like because he didn't play the full 90 and he's gone off injured and he just wasn't necessarily the best performing. I feel like he could have got a 7 if he played the full 90 minutes. Not his fault, obviously, but we move. Ziyech. What's going on with him? What's going on with him? I've given him a 7. I feel like he actually had like a really... He had another really, really good game. The crosses are just unbelievable from him at the moment. MUDRYK unlucky to not put 1 or 2 away in his first performance. Thanks to Ziyech with his, you know, with his vision, with his crossing ability. But brilliant from Ziyech overall. I think we'll go with Cucurella next. And I feel like this is another one. I do feel you could argue a 7 on his part. One of the more convincing performances that I've seen of Cucurella. I'm not the biggest fan of his in his style of play. Even today, just completely like Gallagher's compared to... Mason Mount as well, like runners, just headless chickens from time to time when they have, when they do play. Gallagher more so, obviously Mount plays every fucking game. Excuse my language. But yeah, I feel like, again, yeah, could have been a 7. I feel like he was solid with most of the game. He did give the ball away a few times just with his wackiness, with his style of play. It's just, he's quite a nervy one to watch. But a 6.5, and I feel like he did pull his weight rather well. I think he had a very, very good performance compared especially to games he's had in the past. Jorginho, I feel like I do remember him giving the ball away more often than not. And I'll be honest, didn't really focus on him too much. There was too many other players to focus on in this game. But by all accounts, middle of the field, didn't really have too many issues. Thiago Alcantara was kind of held at bay for most of the game. He had his moments, but still was held. I've gone for a 6, but I feel like that's a little bit high, you know? I feel like that's a little bit high, especially when you think of what Hall's going to get. We'll move. Maybe 5.5, maybe 6 for Jorginho. Lewis Hall. Make no mistake about it. I'm a massive fan of Lewis Hall. I think in the games that he's played for Chelsea so far, been fantastic for his age, for his, you know, from what he's shown. He's showing great ability, great strength, great first time touch, great movement on the ball. But today he absolutely stank the joint out. Absolutely stinky performance from him. And I think even he will be disappointed with what he's done. And this is going to be really harsh. I'm surprised he didn't get substituted earlier. And again, massive fan of Lewis Hall. Really big things to come from him. But I've gone for a 2. I think this is one of the worst performances I've seen. There's been some really, really bad performances this season, but I just can't quantify. Like, I can't put into words how annoying he was to watch today. Like, truly a poor performance. Gave the ball away constantly. There was one instance in our penalty area, more or less, or on the edge of the box, where he's gone to, like, outside of the left boot, swipe it past and go around him. Gave the ball away, put us in massive danger of which wasn't the only time in this game. And whilst the 2 may be very, very harsh, I'm aware, I do feel like it, compared to the rest of the squad, when you're looking at 6s, 7s, 8s, he was quite literally the worst player on the pitch today. And again, love him, think he's going to be brilliant for the club. Just for some reason, he was just not very good today, and it was painful to watch at times. It really was. Gallagher, I think after saying that all about Lewis Hall, I do feel like I've got to give him a 4, just purely because Gallagher was painful to watch as well, and I don't want to be too harsh to Lewis Hall. Gallagher gone back to his headless chicken ways, very, very reckless on the ball. Could have easily got himself sent off with some of the tackles he was making. It was just so unnecessary, so unnecessary. So I think a 4 for him, maybe a 5. I think a 6 is actually out of the question for him. But yeah, Gallagher and Hall, and there's one other that I think really, really Mount as well. We'll move on to him, shall we? A 3 for Mount. A 3 for Mount. You've wanted it. You've asked for it. There's the English bias that I allegedly have. Which clear as day shows that I do not have. Mount bias on my side is ridiculous anyway, and an English bias is just crazy. And again, it shows. All of our worst players today are English. Mount, what has happened? What has happened to Mason Mount? Just. It's not even that he has bad games. He's just not. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything at all. Slipped around the pitch like you wouldn't believe as well. Like, change your boots at some point. He must have done it at half-time because he did it far less in the second half. But he couldn't stay on his feet. Really poor performance from him again today. There would be Mount Mount stands that will absolutely fight tooth and nail for him to say, like, well, I thought he had a good game. What are you watching? What are you watching? I thought he was absolutely pointless being on the pitch. And it's no surprise we didn't score again after that offside goal by Kai Havertz. And as such, not just for the goal, but I feel like, and again, massive critic of Kai Havertz. It's hard to put into words again, but he's the kind of player that regularly he underperforms, just doesn't really put any effort in. It looks like he doesn't do his job. I know he's not a striker like everyone says, but we still play him there all the time. But I feel like he really put in an effort, and the backup just wasn't there from the likes of Gallagher or Mount today. But I have given him a 7. One of the standout performances for him this season, a better performance than last game, even though he scored the winner. I feel like Havertz had a brilliant game, a really good game. So there we go. I haven't given ratings to Carney, Chukwuemeka and MUDRYK. However, I would like to give them, obviously, the honourable mentions, of course, Azpilicueta and Aubameyang and whoever else came on. Who was it? Very quick look. That was it. 4 substitutions. Aubameyang, Chukwuemeka, MUDRYK, and Azpilicueta. But the 2 standout ones, Carney Chukwuemeka for bad reasons and MUDRYK for great reasons, because MUDRYK, we'll start with him, fantastic on the ball. If this is him not fit or not 100% fit, then I worry for the other teams. If everyone else can play half as good as MUDRYK played when he came on, or half as exciting as he played, then we're in good hands. I think he looks absolutely spectacular. If I was to give a rating, I'd say a 7, 7.5, but that's just being probably biased because he's our new shiny toy. Carney Chukwuemeka, awful, absolutely awful. I think we could have won the game a few times since he came on in the last 8 minutes. Slipped 15 fucking times, if not to be exaggerating, but like he just kept falling over. A 1-2 with MUDRYK just was all over the ball, falling over. He even had a chance where he was one-on-one, decided to take a touch. I know MUDRYK did that as well, but you know, I'm critical of that as well. But in Carney Chukwuemeka's case, he should just toe poke it. Just get a shot on target. Like with MUDRYK's one, it's coming in as a cross. Carney Chukwuemeka's one, it's just put it away. Just get it on target. It's not just him, it's everyone. It seems like they're allergic to shooting. Anyway, I don't want to keep too much more of your time. 0-0. We stay 10th for the second game. We've actually got 4 points now in our last 2 games. And we stay in 10th place. So, plenty of games to go. My name is Harry. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified of any future content on the channel. Up the Chelsea. And peace.